Group 1, welcome to your reading. So we're taking a look today at men's first impressions of you. So we have the Ace of Cups, we have the Page of Cups, which I think is really interesting to have those two cards come out next to each other, but we'll get into that in just a second. We have the Star card, we have Strength, we have Enthusiasm, we have Rabbit, and we have Monk or Nun. Selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. Also, before we get started, my voice is a little bit hoarse today, so if I sound off, I'll apologize for that, but hopefully it's not too bad. But with this Ace of Cups next to the Page of Cups, a couple of messages are coming through right away with these two cards. With this Ace of Cups, men see you initially as someone who is sort of like wife material or husband material. You know, they see you as someone that you settle down with for the long term. And so for that reason, I think that some men just don't approach you romantically because they're not ready for that. You know, if someone is looking to date casually, or they're just looking for a hookup or a short-term fling, or, you know, just casual dating, you know, friends with benefits, that kind of thing, they don't see you as someone who would be interested in that. Now remember, this is just their first impression of you. I'm not saying this is how you actually are, but this is how men view you. So if they're not ready for a long-term commitment, they're not going to romantically approach you. You know, because there's this energy of like, why waste their time, you know, because they just see you as, you want something different in this moment than I do, that kind of thing. And so, you know, especially with the Rabbit card being here, I mean, rabbits, you think of fertility. So they see you as someone that you settle down with, someone that you start a family with, someone that you have children with. They see you as someone who would make a great parent. But they're not looking at you and like, yeah, that would be like a fun, casual hookup for me. Because you don't carry yourself that way, at least not from their perspective. And so especially with the Page of Cups being here, and this is the Golden Girls Tarot. So this Page of Cups is represented by the character Rose. So Rose on the TV show, she's very sweet. She has this kind of innocent, almost like childlike energy. You know, she seems really youthful. She seems really caring, very sweet. She loves animals. She's definitely like the nicest one on the show. And, you know, she just seems very sweet. And actually on the TV show, they find out in one episode that she had dated or kissed, I forget how many men in like a year-long period or something before she met her husband, Charli. And Blanche has always on the show kind of viewed herself as the flirty one, you know, the one that men find the most desirable. You know, she would be the type to like being called a slut. You know, she kind of wears that kind of like a badge of honor. And Dorothy, the other friend, is like, well, this slut is dead. Long live the new slut. And I mean, they're just joking around with each other, right? But so I say all of that to say, this is how you're coming across to men. I'm not saying this is how you actually are. You may be someone who does enjoy a casual hookup, and that's totally cool, totally fine. But from their first impression, they're not seeing you that way. They're seeing you as someone who is meant for a long-term commitment, or someone who wants a long-term commitment, but, you know, someone to settle down with, but not necessarily someone who's going to be like a fun night, you know, like a one-off kind of thing. And it may be because of how you dress, and maybe because of your energy, your personality, but that's how you come across. Now, they do see you as someone who's very giving, very generous, and I think, unfortunately, sometimes if we're talking about men who are very childish, who aren't very mature, they could see that and see you as being someone they can easily take advantage of. You know, kind of like moths to a flame, like I can't create that light for myself, so I'm going to go over here and use up group one's light and then just leave them. So you may attract people or men who are emotionally immature because you have emotional maturity, so you have something that they lack. And so they may kind of like glob onto you in that way. And it's funny, like I think men who are more mature and more honest about what they're wanting and what their goals are in terms of dating and relationships will say, okay, I'm just looking for a casual hookup, so I'm not going to bother group one. They seem like they want something long-term. Or if they do want something long-term, they will definitely approach you because you seem like you want that, you know? But men who are emotionally immature may actually seek you out a lot because you have, again, something that they lack. And, you know, unfortunately, if you're a really giving person, sometimes that means you attract a lot of takers, right? So you may have, unfortunately, experienced that. I think this enthusiasm card works really well with the cards that you got from the Golden Girls Tarot here because that's Rose. Like, she's so enthusiastic. She's so optimistic. She gets excited about the little things, you know? Something that seems like really mundane, like going grocery shopping. You know, she can make that into something that's really fun and really exciting and really cool. You know, like you are someone who comes across as like, you're fun to do stuff with. And I think that makes you really like a breath of fresh air. You know, like even the most mundane, boring day-to-day activities, running errands, because of just your sort of like bubbly, youthful, I don't know, just kind of like happy-go-lucky kind of persona. Again, this is how you're coming across to men. It just makes you seem like someone that can make your day a little bit brighter, you know? I think there's something about you that men find endearing, you know, something about you that makes them smile, something about you that just seems very sweet and cuddly, you know? You just seem like a cute little like plushie, you know, like that kind of energy. I think there's something about you that just seems so sweet and so cute. And then, now I will say, you know, with the Star card and the Strength card here, if we take it a little bit beyond men's initial first impression of you, or if we're talking about a man who is a little bit more perceptive than the average man, okay? They would kind of see a little bit deeper beyond this Little Miss Sunshine, Little Mr. Sunshine kind of happy-go-lucky persona that you have is this incredible strength. It takes so much strength to be soft, to be feminine, to be kind in a world that is very harsh, that is very masculine dominated, that can be really tough. And I think that how you continually express compassion, how you continually act in a way that is morally graceful, I am hearing. Meaning that if someone really, really does you wrong, you still find it within your heart to try to understand why they did that, instead of just immediately going to a very angry, dark, revengeful place where you bring yourself morally down to their level. You handle yourself with so much grace. You have so much capacity for forgiveness and love and compassion, and you just have this beautiful, sweet soul to you. And I think that comes from your spiritual side. But men who are more perceptive, or if we take it beyond the first impression, if they do start to get to know you, I think they start to realize maybe they underestimated you a bit. Because I do feel like people, even just, you know, not just men, but people in general have a tendency to underestimate you, to not see the strength that you possess, to not see the incredible amount of strength it takes to carry yourself the way that you do. It takes so much strength to forgive. It takes so much strength to not let someone else pull you out of your character, pull you out of your light. And I do think that you're the type of person to where your life experiences do not match up with your personality, with how you carry yourself, with your aura, because you have like this bright white light around you. You would think someone like you who has been through what they've been through would be bitter, jaded, cold, reserved, closed off, guarded, difficult to get to know, would just be kind of mean-spirited even, mad at the world, angry. But you're not. And that's a testament to your strength. And I also feel like those men who come in and who are emotionally immature and think that they can take advantage of you have another thing coming. I mean, they have no idea how intuitive you are. You see through that. You see through that so quickly. If someone is coming to you with negative intentions, dishonest intentions, they just want to take. You see through that. Maybe you didn't when you were younger, but you see through it now. You are so intuitive. And you won't allow it. You won't stand for it. And you pour into yourself. You take care of yourself first. And that's why you're able to be so generous, why you're able to be so kind, because you fill up your own cup first. And you're not desperate. You don't need anybody. Not like that. Not in like a codependent way. Not saying you don't need social support or love or anything like that, but not from a codependent, desperate perspective, because you fill up your own cup. You make sure that you take care of you. And that's powerful and that's important. And it's really, really beautiful how you have rebuilt yourself time and time again when life or others have tried to tear you down. And I think that men who are more perceptive or men who stick around long enough to hear your story and get to hear your story are really kind of taken aback at how they underestimated you or they saw you in this one-dimensional lens. Because there's so much more to you than just that sweet, plushy kind of energy we were picking up on. There's so much more depth to you than that happy-go-lucky vibe you give off. There's so much more depth to you. And you're not so innocent. You have encountered some really difficult challenges in your life. You're not so innocent. You have been put through it, but people want to paint you, or men want to paint you. I'm so used to using gender neutral terms. Men want to paint you in this box, this frame. And I do think in general we tend to stereotype and categorize people without even meaning to. But I think that's the stereotype that they want to put you in of like, you're the good girl or you're the good guy, girl next door, boy next door vibes. But there's so much more to you than that. And I think that's where this monk nun card comes in at, is this idea of you being good. You being the good girl, the good guy, and not seeing the complexity that you possess within you. Because no one is entirely good or bad. We're all made of shades of gray. And that's something that's really beautiful, in fact. How flat would the world be if everything existed in black and white terms? And so I feel like men have a tendency to oversimplify you and to underestimate you. And I also feel like for whatever reason, and maybe it's because you're so giving, and I think that's just what you naturally tend towards. I don't think that you give from a perspective of, I want to give so that other people feel dependent upon me, or I want to give because that strokes my ego. I think that's just kind of like your natural default. You know, like you don't think too much about it. You would kind of just shrug it off. Like, I don't know, I just felt like giving them that. I just wanted to be helpful. It's just kind of your natural mode. Just something you tend towards. It's not really a conscious thing. And I think as you've gotten older, you've had to be more mindful of how much you give, so maybe you pay more attention to it than you used to. I'm getting off track here. What was I saying? Oh. Yes, I remember now. Sorry, sometimes the messages come through so quickly they get muddled. Because you have this natural tendency towards giving, men may see you through the lens of what can group one do for me. And I think that's also where that fertility rabbit card comes in. How can group one add to my life? What can group one give to me? Without really considering, are these things that group one would actually want? I feel like there's a lot of assumptions made about you, right? Like there's an assumption made about you that you want a long-term committed relationship, and maybe that's a true assumption, but it's still an assumption. There's an assumption that you want children, that you want to be a parent, that you would make a great parent. There's an assumption that you would want to have children with them. They're not really thinking about, is group one gonna, because maybe you do want kids, but do you want to procreate with that particular man? It's like that thought doesn't even cross some of their minds. They just think, group one would make a great mother. Do I want kids right now? Do I want to start a family? Do I want to get married? They're thinking about them, and not a whole lot about, would group one think I would make a good dad? Yeah, group one wants kids, but do they want to have my kids? It's like that thought process just doesn't happen. It's a lot of what group one can do for me. And I'm not telling you to be less giving or to be less generous. I think, romantically speaking, if you are wanting something long-term, when the right person comes in, the right man comes in for you, you know, if this is what you're wanting, a male romantic partner, I don't think they will have that perspective, and that will probably let you know that they are the one when it's not all about what you can do for them. It's about what you two can build together and what both of you want for the future, and are your goals aligned, that kind of thing. And I think for, you know, the right man for you, you're going to feel like a wish come true, and they're going to appreciate and be grateful for the light that you are, and not just try to use it up and dispose of you kind of thing. And they're going to understand that you are not like a renewable resource, right? Like you can't take and take and take and take from you and expect you to be this endless well of giving. Like at some point there has to be a limit. At some point there has to be a boundary. At some point they have to give to you too for it to be an equal, healthy, balanced relationship. That's what the Two of Cups is all about, right? So I think that the right man will have an understanding of that. Okay, to end your reading now, I just have some self-care messages from your guides to tidy things up. I will say I really, really love how these 3 self-care messages still line up with the character Rose from the Golden Girls. If you've never seen the Golden Girls, it might be worth watching because I think that you may find some common ground with the character Rose. And I will say, like, people kind of view her as an airhead, you know, or someone who's just not that smart. But the thing with Rose is that she assumes everyone is being honest. She assumes everyone is always being truthful and they mean what they say. And so when Dorothy is being really sarcastic, because Dorothy's supposed to be the smart one, when Dorothy is being really sarcastic, it just goes right over Rose's head because she doesn't have an understanding of sarcasm because she assumes everyone is being honest and truthful and she takes everything at face value. And so that may come across as she's being simple-minded, but I think it's more of a place of like purity, quite honestly, when you watch the show long enough. And it's funny too because she's played by Betty White, and Betty White she's so smart. I mean, she was on so many like panel shows back in the day. I mean, she was really clever. But anyway, so with the create art card, that's pretty straightforward. And even if you're not an artist, I mean, it's okay to just have fun. It's okay to just color or just paint or just draw. And if it looks ridiculous, it looks ridiculous. It's just about you having a way to express yourself. You having an outlet for that. And spend time with animals, you know, spend time with your pet, volunteer at a shelter. I mean, even just watching pet videos, animal videos on YouTube, that can make you feel closer to animals. And, you know, can really make you smile, right? If you watch a cute cat video, make you smile. And connecting with your ancestors. You can do this by learning more about your family tree, by asking, you know, like your grandma, great-grandma, you know, whoever is older in your family about your family history, asking them stories about their childhood, how they grew up, things like that. And you can also just pray or meditate or ask for a sign from your ancestors, you know, and, you know, if you have had difficult experiences with your family, I think that can be kind of nice. Like, if my living relatives aren't people that I connect with or people that, you know, where it's not really healthy for me to be around them, maybe I can have a spiritual connection with my ancestors. If I can't have the type of relationship I want with my living relatives. So that might be something to consider. Okay. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading. welcome to your reading. So today we're taking a look at men's first impressions of you. I will say, looking at your spread so far, you're my favorite group. But let's go ahead and get into this. We have the Four of Swords, we have Justice, we have the King of Cups, we have the Five of Swords, we have Beauty, we have Eel, and we have the Virgin card. Okay. The message that's coming through over and over again for you all, especially looking at the placement of some of these cards, men feel like you're a lot of trouble. Like, you're a lot of trouble. You're kind of very elusive with the Eel card. It's like you're slippery. It's like, how do I even get close to group 2? There's something about you that just seems really intimidating, really aloof. That's the word, aloof. There's a mystery to you. There's a sense of intrigue there. Like, I want to get to know more, but you seem very unbothered. With this Four of Swords, this is my favorite card to come through here. You're just very unbothered. I think you're not giving, at least right now, men very much attention at all. You're like, I'm not very focused on men. I could care less. You know, like, her eyes are closed, she's resting, she's got her beverage, you know, she's just enjoying her best life with the Four of Swords here. You know, she can't be bothered. She can't be bothered. And I feel like, you know, because you may come across as you're playing hard to get, I don't think you are playing hard to get, but that's the impression that men get. You know, I think you're over here enjoying your own company, whereas if a man was trying to talk to you and you weren't really giving them the time of day, instead of assuming you were out here just enjoying your own company, they would probably assume that you're with someone else. And that's where this Five of Swords is coming in. It's almost like a sense of competition. Like, I have to beat out, or I have to be better than these other guys that group 2 is talking to. I don't think you're talking to anybody else though, you know? Or if you are, it's like on a very superficial level. I just feel like you can't hardly be bothered right now. Unless someone really, really great comes along, you cannot be bothered. And with the King of Cups here, it's like, this is what you're wanting. You're wanting someone who is emotionally mature, emotionally intelligent, someone who can communicate and express how they feel, what they're wanting romantically. That's what you're wanting. If you're looking for a romantic male counterpart, that's what you're looking for. Now, maybe you're not interested in men romantically, and that's totally fine, but if you are, this is what you're looking for, and you're not going to settle for less. And so, you know, your standards are pretty high. And I think it's because you're kind of done with the nonsense. You're done with the nonsense. You know, with Justice here, you want a honest, loyal, faithful, romantic partnership. That's what you're wanting. And you're wanting men who are capable of being honest and who morally act right. You don't want to get screwed over. And so you're like, you know what? I'd rather be alone than be with the wrong kind of man. And that's where you're at if you're interested in men romantically. But I feel like, unfortunately, you get bothered a lot, and you get a lot of unwanted attention because of this Beauty card here. And because of this Virgin card. You know, I feel like men may have a tendency, and I struggle to say this word, men may have a tendency to fetishize you quite a bit. I think that because you're not giving out a whole lot of information, because you seem aloof, you seem reserved, you seem mysterious, you're not giving them a whole lot to go off of. They make a lot of assumptions about you based upon your physical appearance. And they kind of just fill in the gaps themselves. And so I feel like men may tend to, like I said, fetishize you, and that may be based upon certain aspects of your physical appearance, which may be related to your race, your ethnicity, your hair color. You know how people say like blondes are dumb or fun and brunettes are smart, redheads are fiery, like really stupid stereotypes, that kind of thing. Or like I said, unfortunately, making assumptions based on your race or your ethnicity, or thinking you're like exotic or something. Or based upon your style and how you dress, like, oh, she wears a lot of dark colors, so group 2 is really serious, or group 3, I'm sorry, did I say group 3? Group 2 wears a lot of pastels, so they're really sweet, like just very dumb stereotypes. Or, I don't know, if you have a lot of tattoos, they may make assumptions about that. If you have a certain aesthetic, if you dress more alternatively, I'm struggling today, y'all. If you dress in an alternative way, they may make assumptions about that. It's like anything about your physical appearance that they could stereotype, they will, because they don't really have a lot of information about your personality because you're not letting them get that close to you. You seem aloof, you seem cold, you seem guarded. But with Eel here and beauty next to it, there's something very magnetic about your physical appearance. And I don't care if you're sitting here thinking that you're not that physically attractive. I'm telling you, from the male perspective, you are. You are. We would not have gotten Eel next to beauty if that was not the case. You are very physically attractive to the average man. There is something electrifying about you. There is something that gives them butterflies in the stomach. Something about you that is very magnetic, very drawn to you. And I mean, it may also be a thing where men just want you for your body too. I mean, you may encounter that as well. And I think because you are, at least right now, in this energy of enjoying your own company, doing your self-care, focusing on you, living your best life, because you're not giving in to what they want when they want it. You're not jumping into bed with them or sleeping with them immediately. Not that there's anything wrong with that, especially if you've done it in the past. But that's, at this point in time, with the Four of Swords and Justice and King of Cups, not something that you're wanting right now. And so, because you're not doing those things with them, they may look at you from that angle as you're really innocent or pure, and like you're playing hard to get, and like I want to corrupt you. It's really gross. It's a gross energy. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Because I just feel like, group 1 dealt with a lot of assumptions too. But at least I could see where they were coming from with those assumptions. With your group, it's like, because they have nothing to go off of other than like your physical appearance, they're making some wild assumptions about you. Wild assumptions, and maybe some of those assumptions are correct, like maybe you don't have a long history with a bunch of partners in terms of physical intimacy, let's put it that way. But they don't have any evidence for that, and they may make assumptions based upon like your personality related to that just aren't correct. I think also group 2, they would be very shocked to realize how well you handle yourself in an argument. You can cut through to the truth. You can articulate yourself so well and win an argument without being unfair, without going below the belt. You handle yourself in terms of conflict incredibly well. I feel like there's a toughness to you. There's this ability to advocate for yourself that men just aren't seeing, which is funny because I think you are right now holding some really great boundaries. And that's a sign of your emotional maturity, but they are interpreting it as you're playing a game. You're playing hard to get. But you're not playing at anything. You are hard to get. Your standards are high. And I'm not mad at it, group 2. And I think, honestly, this is kind of the thing. I think if you're a really physically attractive person, you have a lot of benefits with being really physically attractive. You do. A lot of benefits that come with that. However, there is a shadow side to that. Just like everything, good with the bad, bad with the good. There's always a shadow side. If you're really physically attractive, I think it's harder for you to discern. And again, this is if you're interested romantically in men. It's really a lot harder to discern, is this man with me because he genuinely loves me, because he genuinely likes to spend time with me, because he loves my personality, or is he with me because I look good standing next to him? Because I am a conquest, because he wants to brag to his friends about how hot his new girl is. Or, you could be a guy watching this, his new guy. That could be a thing. And so it's harder for you to know, are you with me for the right reasons? It's okay. Obviously, physical attractiveness is a necessary component, to a romantic partnership. I would say, yeah, sure. You want to be physically attracted to the person that you're with. That's fine. But that can't be the only thing, right? That connection's not going to last very long if it's based upon just the physical, because that's superficial, right? And I think you, with this King of Cups, want something deeper. You want a deep emotional connection, emotional bond with somebody. You want someone to see you. You want someone to understand you, see you for who you are, beyond this pretty outer shell. And I don't think that they always do. And I think that's why you have to be discerning. And that's why you're being discerning. You're being so discerning. You're not just letting anybody get close to you because you question, are you here because you like the way that I look? Or are you here because you actually like who I am? Because I am more than just how I look. And you are really beautiful. We have Libra energy here. We have Venus energy here. We have beauty. You are so beautiful. But you are so much more than your physical outer shell. And I think it breaks your heart in a lot of ways that people don't see that men don't get that, or that men don't care to get that. And that's not every man. But I think you have encountered that. And that's why we see you in this Four of Swords. That's why we see you so unbothered. That's why we see you being so distant. And I will also say with that King of Cups card, before we move on to your self-care messages here, with that King of Cups, I feel like you are able to embody that energy quite often. Which is good, because I think you are trying to, in some ways, become what you are seeking. And I feel like sometimes men who are uncomfortable in their masculinity may really struggle. And this isn't just in romantic relationships. I could see this playing out in your professional life as well. But I think that your ability to step into a masculine energy is so intimidating to men who aren't comfortable in their own masculinity. They find it almost like threatening. You know, men who have really fragile egos, I think, struggle with you. If you're going to work with a man, if you're going to be in a romantic partnership with a man, if you're going to be friends with a man, he needs to be confident in his masculinity, because if he's not, if he's insecure about his masculinity, if he has a really fragile ego, he's going to feel so undermined by you. He's going to feel so emasculated by you. And he's going to come at you aggressively to compensate for how emasculated he feels. So you may deal with men who are angry towards you and you feel like it's completely unjustified, and it is, because they are intimidated by you being strong in your masculine energy. You can step into that energy whenever you want to. And with the cups being there, you still hold on to your femininity, but you can step into that energy if and when you please. And I think, again, that can be intimidating, threatening, undermining to men who aren't comfortable in their own masculinity, and that's their problem. That's something they need to work through. Why am I so triggered by group 2? But I say that just so you're aware of it. So if a man is acting aggressively towards you and you don't know why, that's why. They aren't comfortable in their masculine energy. It's nothing that you did wrong. You don't need to feel guilty about it. It's not your fault. They need to work through that. Okay, your self-care messages. And these are just from your spirit guides. I thought this would be a nice way to end your reading. We have positive affirmations. And positive affirmations can be really simple, like I love myself. I am worthy. I am deserving. We have write a gratitude list, and we have movement. And movement doesn't have to be some strenuous exercise. Movement can be gentle. Whatever feels good to you. If that means just taking a few minutes a day to stand up and to stretch, like if you work where you have to sit a lot, that can be nice. It can be dancing, taking a few minutes to play some music and just dance around your house. That can be really uplifting to your mood. It doesn't have to be strenuous exercise. If you like that, that's cool. But I just wanted to throw it out there that it doesn't have to be you breaking a sweat. It can be gentle movement. Okay. All right. That concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading. hi, group 3. Last but not least, let's find out men's first impressions of you. We have the 9 of Wands, we have the 4 of Cups, we have the 10 of Wands, we have the Death card, we have Inspiration. I'm laughing because your cards are funny, I'm sorry. We have Alchemist, and we have Glove. You have a very clear and direct message here in terms of men's first impressions of you. I think especially men who are romantically interested in you, they feel like you are high maintenance. And listen, no shame in your game, but they feel like you are high maintenance. They feel like you're a lot of effort. They feel like trying to get with group 3 will be like the death of me. You have to handle group 3 very carefully with the Glove card. You have to be handled very delicately, because I feel like you are easily spooked. You would be quick to ghost someone or cut a guy off if he just wasn't coming at you correctly, or if he wasn't offering what was, what you expect you deserve, or if he seemed like he was playing games or any hints of a red flag, you're out the door. You are not messing with it. You are very quick to spot a red flag, very quick to find them, at least from the perspective of a man. And they just feel like you're a lot of work, you're a piece of work. That's how you're coming through. And, with this 4 of Cups here, I think, from their perspective, they feel like you're not being really grateful, or you're not giving them credit for what they are doing for you, or they do so much for you. I'm not saying they actually do, but I think this is their perspective. And it's kind of reminding me of my ex, and he was, in a lot of ways, I feel like a man-child. But he would say, I do so much for you. I do so much for you. And I apologize for the Real Housewives reference, but on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills this season, I know I'm jumping a little bit here, but Sutton and Kyle were arguing, and Sutton kept telling her, name them, name them, name them, in their argument, because Kyle was saying, Sutton acts crazy sometimes. And she's like, well, tell me when I've been crazy. Name them. Name those times. Name them. Name them. She kept saying name them over and over again. And that's how I was. I was like, well, if you do so much for me, name it. What do you do for me? Name it. Name it. And he would say, well, I make your coffee in the morning. Okay, you sometimes make me coffee. All right. What else? Well, just all the little things I do for you. Like what? Well, I make your coffee. It was like a circular argument. That was the only thing he could name. And I was like, you know what? Let me take that off of your plate. Since that's so much, since you do so much for me in making my coffee some mornings, let me just make my own coffee. I don't want you to ever make me coffee ever again, since it's obviously such a burden to you. Because he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't doing anything to contribute or to help with the household chores or cooking, cleaning, anything. He wasn't doing anything. And so I was like, you will never make me a cup of coffee again. If you're going to hold it over my head, no thank you. And you may encounter that too, where it's men, when they do the bare minimum for you, want to hold it over your head. They did so much for you. They moved heaven and earth for you. And it's did you? Did you really do so much for me? I don't think you're high maintenance, group 3. I think what you're asking for is quite reasonable. But even if you are high maintenance, so what? So what? If you give a lot to a relationship, I think you deserve that energy back. And, if you're overgiving, then sure, manage that, pull back a bit. But I think that if you give in a relationship and you expect to receive back, I think that's reasonable. It's reasonable to expect reciprocity in romantic partnerships. It's reasonable. And, you know, I think that you're mature, you have your life together, you have your ducks in a row, and you may not feel like you have it all together, but I think compared to some of the men that approach you, especially in a romantic context, I feel that you, in comparison, do have it pretty together. And so why shouldn't you expect them to be at your level, right? I think sometimes you get into this dynamic with these men who are almost like fixer-uppers. And it's like, why do I have to invest so much time and energy into getting you to be a mature adult? Like, why do I have to do that? You know? It's like, what do you mean you only own one bath towel? Like, what do you mean that you haven't paid your taxes? Like, what do you mean that you got fired from your job because you were laying out of work all the time? Like, what do you mean? You know what like, just be an adult, handle your stuff, you know? And I think that's where your frustration comes in. And so, and I say all this because I don't want you to feel like you're the problem, because looking at your cards here, I don't think that you are. I don't think that you're being unreasonable. With inspiration here, I think that you do end up helping men better themselves, you know? And I'm not talking about all men. I'm just saying the men that approach you who are like this fixer-uppers where they don't have it together and, you know, they are just not at your level. You probably do end up helping them quite a bit, but you shouldn't have to be in that position. Why do I have to mother you? Why do I have to? And that's the thing too, like if men are looking at you and saying like, you're a piece of work, you're kind of like, why can't you be softer? Why can't you be more feminine? Why can't you be more easygoing? Why can't you be more chill? Why can't you be more fun? I can't be that way because you are not being in a healthy masculine energy. I am having to be a man for the both of us. I am having to be in a masculine energy for the both of us because you are not in a healthy masculine energy. So I'm having to be in that energy. If you want a chill, cool, laid back girl, or if you're a guy watching this, if you want a cool, chill, laid back guy that's in a feminine energy, you have to be in a healthy masculine energy. Like somebody has to take the reins. Somebody has to be assertive. Somebody has to make the hard choices. Somebody has to actively have their life together here. I'm carrying this burden for the both of us because you're not in a healthy masculine energy. How can I be cool, chill, laid back when you're over here not acting like a mature adult? How can I be cool, chill, laid back when you're not paying your bills? When you're flaking out on your responsibilities, when you're acting like a child? How can I be like chill and cool and laid back? You know, I'm having to fix your problems for you. I'm having to step up and take the reins because you're not doing it. It reminds me a lot, and again, I apologize for the reality TV examples, but it reminds me a lot of this last season of Vanderpump Rules. If you guys follow the Scandal and all of that, where, and I won't delve into like the whole backstory, but essentially Ariana had been with Tom for like 10 years or something like that. And when they got together, she was that cool, chill, laid back girl. But as their relationship progressed, and it's like we bought a home together and you're trying to start this business, I'm trying to start this business, we're trying to do big things here. We need to be adults, we need to be responsible. And Tom is out there and just blowing money and cheating and just acting like a teenager, just acting so childish. And it's like, you're grown, like you are way too old to be acting like this. And you're blaming me because I'm not fun anymore? How can I be fun and laid back and chill when you are doing all of these things? Your behavior affects me. So if you want me to be nice and sweet and easy, that's really what it is. They want you to be easy. Then you have to act in a way that allows me to be that way. But you're not. You want me to be easygoing when you're cheating on me? You want me to be easygoing when you're out here basically setting money on fire? Nah, not happening. So I just feel like you get labeled as difficult, and you are not difficult, group 3. I just feel like you are just being so gaslit. You are not difficult. You do deserve better. You should be in this 4 of Cups, because what is being offered to you in terms of men romantically sucks. Like, this ain't it. And you shouldn't have to keep putting in all the hard work. It's like they're telling you you're so difficult when you are pulling all of the weight, all of the responsibility of the relationship, of the connection. And I could see this playing out in your professional life too. Like, you have a male boss who throws on all of this work onto you, things that maybe he should be doing. And then when you come to him and you express frustration, he tells you you're not being a team player. But if he would be in a healthy masculine energy and would step up and do what needed to be done on his end and be a good leader and delegate appropriately, you wouldn't feel so burned out. You wouldn't be angry. You get labeled angry a lot. You're the angry woman. You're the difficult woman. You're the shrew. But you're not. Now, I think men who are in a healthy masculine energy, they do see you as someone who has high standards, but they look at you like you are someone to be respected. They look at you as someone who's really wise, really mature, and they come at you in an appropriate way that matches that energy. But I feel like we had to kind of go through that debilitated masculine energy that you've been dealing with, because I feel like you needed that affirmation. You needed that reassurance that you were not the problem. Okay, and now we will end your reading with some self-care messages. And these are just from your spirit guides, some self-care things you can do for yourself. We have start a dream journal. Now, I know this can be tricky, especially if you have to get up early for work. It's like I may not have time to write down my dreams. So if it helps you, I've never found a good solution to that, because if you're like me and you wake up, you may forget your dreams really quickly. And so if you don't have time to sit down and jot down what you dreamed about, it's like, how do I keep a dream journal? Honestly, I don't have an answer for that. Like, I've never figured that out myself. So if that's not possible for you, don't worry about it, but it's just a suggestion. Or if you in the comments watching this are like, oh, this is how I keep a dream journal, even though I don't have time in the morning when I wake up to jot stuff down, please post it in the comments, because I don't honestly know a solution for that. We have abundance planning. So this could be you making a budget for yourself, you becoming more financially literate, learning about how to invest money, starting a side hustle, anything like that. And then we have soak in a bath. And I know not everyone likes to take baths, or you may not have a bathtub, but you can still take, you know, a shower and have that be a relaxing experience. They make these tablets that you can put in your shower that like slowly dissolve, and it's sort of like aromatherapy. So that can be something you can do to spruce up your shower. Or I've seen people hang up like eucalyptus around their shower head. Different stuff you can do to make your shower special in the same way you would do like an elaborate bath. So you can have crystals near you as well. That could be another thing. Or you can kind of wash your body with intention. Sometimes I do that when I'm really stressed. I'll set the intention like this water, as I'm washing my body, is going to cleanse me of negativity, of self-doubt, of frustration, you know, like whatever is going on, you know, on that particular day. Whatever you want to sort of cleanse or clear yourself of, you can do that. You know, a little bit of water magic there. All right, that concludes your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope it brought you some comfort. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, or subscribing. Hitting the notification bell lets you know whenever I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I know they can probably be a little bit annoying, but you can always mute them and just have them on in the background. So I really appreciate anyone who does that as well. I also want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the ads already, been a regular viewer, donated on Venmo, tipped with SuperThanks, or just commented or liked a video. It means the world to me and to Miss Gracie, of course. I'm wishing everyone the best as always. Please take care, and I hope to see you in my next reading.